Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've ever wondered why we make the decisions we do, or why sometimes our instincts can lead us astray, today's video is for you. We're diving into Thinking, Fast and Slow, the groundbreaking book by Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. Let's break down how our minds work, the biases that shape our judgments, and what we can do to make better decisions. Section 1, the two systems of thinking. First, let's talk about the two main ways we think, which Daniel Kahneman calls System 1 and System 2. System 1 is fast, automatic, and intuitive. It's the part of your brain that makes snap decisions, like recognizing a friend in a crowd or instinctively moving your hand away from something hot. System 1 works quickly and effortlessly, but it can also be prone to biases. On the other hand, System 2 is slow, deliberate, and analytical. It kicks in when we need to think through complex problems or make important decisions. But here's the catch. System 2 is more energy-consuming, and it's easy to fall back on the quick decisions of System 1, even when we should be using more thoughtful reasoning. So, while System 1 is great for everyday tasks, it's also where we're most vulnerable to errors in judgment. Section 2, Cognitive Biases and Heuristics. Kahneman explains that when we rely on System 1, we often use mental shortcuts called heuristics. These are quick rules of thumb that help us make decisions fast, but they also introduce biases. Let's look at some of these biases in action. First up, the anchoring effect. This is when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we get. For example, if you see a sweater priced at $200 and then one at $100, you might think the second one is a great deal, even if $100 is still overpriced. Next, we have the availability heuristic. This is when we overestimate the likelihood of something happening because it's easy to recall examples from memory. So, after hearing about a plane crash on the news, you might start to think flying is way more dangerous than it really is. And then there's overconfidence bias. Ever been super sure about something, only to find out you were wrong? That's overconfidence at work. We tend to trust our own judgments too much, even when they're based on little or no evidence. Section 3, Prospect Theory, Loss Aversion. Now let's talk about something really interesting from the book, Prospect Theory, which Kahneman developed with his colleague Amos Tversky. Prospect Theory challenges the traditional idea of rational decision-making. It shows that we value losses much more than gains. In fact, the pain of losing $100 feels way worse than the pleasure of gaining $100. That's why we're more likely to take risky actions to avoid a loss, even if the chances of success are low. For example, you might gamble to avoid losing money, even if the odds are stacked against you. Section 4, Expert Intuition and Biases. Kahneman also discusses expert intuition, which is when experts make quick, accurate decisions based on experience. But here's the thing, even experts are still influenced by biases, and their judgments aren't always as reliable as we think. In some situations, such as in high-stakes environments like medicine or firefighting, experts rely on recognition-primed decisions, which are made based on patterns they've seen over years of experience. But even experts can make mistakes when they rely too much on intuition, especially in unpredictable environments. That's why we need to be cautious about overestimating our own expertise. Section 5, the Planning Fallacy and Hindsight Bias. Let's talk about two more cognitive pitfalls, the planning fallacy and hindsight bias. The planning fallacy is when we underestimate how long something will take, how much it will cost, or the risks involved. This happens because we focus too much on our optimistic expectations and ignore the past mistakes or base rate information. And hindsight bias is a tendency to believe that we knew something all along after it happens. When something goes wrong, we think it was inevitable, but in reality, we couldn't have predicted it. Section 6, How to Make Better Decisions. Alright, so we've learned a lot about how our brains trick us into making irrational decisions. But here's the good news. Kahneman offers us ways to improve our thinking. First, be aware of your biases. Recognizing when you're relying on System 1 and being aware of common biases can help you make more thoughtful choices. Second, use System 2 more often, especially for important decisions. Don't just go with your gut. Take the time to slow down and analyze the situation. And finally, consider setting up nudges, small changes in how you present choices that can help people make better decisions. This has huge implications for everything from personal finance to public policy. Conclusion. So, there you have it. Thinking, fast and slow, gives us powerful insights into the way our brains work and the biases that shape our decisions. By understanding these mental shortcuts, we can improve our judgment, avoid common errors, and ultimately make better choices. If you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've read Thinking, Fast and Slow, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you've applied its lessons. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.